Have you ever felt like at the moment it feels like your world is crumbling, that in that moment God is now asking you to trust him for something impossible? Let's talk about Jeremiah 32. I want you to picture the scene. Jerusalem is under siege. The Babylonian army is surrounding the city, and hope is fading fast. People are scared. Judgment is looming. It's really one of the darkest moments in Israel's history. And right in the middle of all this chaos, God now instructs Jeremiah, go buy a field. Yeah, a field. Buy a piece of land just a few miles away in enemy-occupied territory. Can you imagine how crazy that must have sounded? When you figure that invaders are going to start confiscating lands for themselves, you can imagine property values aren't exactly rising. But Jeremiah, go ahead and buy a field. And Jeremiah obeyed. He didn't buy the field because it made sense in the moment. He bought it because God told him to. This wasn't just a random property deal. It was a prophetic act of hope. By purchasing that field, Jeremiah was declaring God's promises will outlast this destruction. There is a future beyond this chaos. The circumstances may suggest it's a bad investment, but obeying God's instructions is never a bad investment. And here's the key. Jeremiah trusted God's word over what his eyes could see. The city is falling apart. The Babylonians are at the gate. But Jeremiah believed God's promise that one day houses, fields, and vineyards would again be bought in that faith. He's not ignoring the reality. He's trusting in the greater reality that God has spoken. Sometimes we're faced with situations that look hopeless, maybe a financial struggle or a broken relationship or dreams that seem out of reach. And in those moments, God might ask you to do something that feels completely counterintuitive, like buying the field in the middle of a war zone. Why? Because the Lord is inviting you to put your faith in his promises, not in your circumstances. Jeremiah's story reminds us that God's plans don't stop in the middle of the storm. Sure, there might be judgment or hardship or loss, but God's ultimate purpose is restoration. His promises are bigger than your current struggles. So today, respond in obedience to God's word by taking a step of faith. Maybe start a conversation you've been avoiding, or giving generously when finances are tight, or trust God with an uncertain future. Whatever it is, act on his word, not on your fears. Like Jeremiah, you can declare through your actions that God's promises are true, even when life is hard. Go buy that field if he told you to do it. Do what he said to do.